Well, it's the morning after the night before. Let's have a look what happened here now then. Bring those out. Oh, actually, it doesn't look like it's done anything again, does it? What do you think? Shiny inside, shiny at that little bit that's covered up, but tarnished the rest of it. I don't know. May have to resort to Brasso in the end, eh? Well, at least I got a rum and coke out of the job, didn't I? So it's not been a total disaster. We'll just let them dry, and then I might even get something to rub them with. A bit of abrasive, something like that. So we can only do what we can do. Well, I've just had a sickener. I've just found two more of these bottom pieces, and these are the ones that I've cleaned. And looking at the comparison now between the old and the new, right? These are the old ones. This is the cleaned up one. So it's not actually done a bad job. So I'm wondering whether to leave them like that or not. Now the other thing I've got to do is to get the other two to look like those other four now. So I'm going to have to go through the whole process again, like I did before, and then I'll just make sure I get a rum and coke out of it again. Well, I've got all brass parts now have been cleaned, and I'm just looking at these two on the outside compared to the one in the middle, right? These are for the little statuettes at the side, and I'm not sure whether they're the same or not. I actually ran out of coke and I used Sprite for that, so I don't know whether it's done a better job or a same as job, but I did them just the same way as I did all the others. So they're all near enough the same now, and these are a little bit different in construction anyway because they're for the statuettes. So we'll take it from there. I'm going to have to polish everything up now and then put it back together. Well, look what I've got. I've actually got some Brasso. My wife went out shopping today, came back with this lovely little bottle here. So I'm going to give everything a good rub with Brasso, and we'll see how it comes up then. Well, it just takes a lot of elbow grease now to get this Brasso shining up here. Look at that. That's a remarkable difference, isn't it, compared to how it was. So you can stick your home remedies. Just give me a little bottle of Brasso every time, and the job's a good one. Look at the shine on that now. Remarkable, isn't it? So I've just got about 6 of these to do, and then the other 4 that are for the tops, and then it's ready for going back together again. I polished the brasses, my lord. Yes, and a right good job you've done too. Right, let's think about getting them back together now. Well, I've started to put it back together again now. As you'll notice, I've gold plated the bezel here for the clock. I presume it's called a bezel, it is on a watch. And I've got one of the columns and one of the men there in place. Here too, but tell you what, they're really tough to get in, these. I've got a lot of messing about to do with them at the bottom, and I need a spanner to tighten it up. So I'm getting there. Next job will be to clean all this brass work, and then when the brass work's done, it's a case of oiling the clock and getting it back together again in one piece. So it's definitely coming on. Now the next stage is going to be to get to fill in these pieces that are broken off here, porcelain that's been broken off here. You can see it's nice and clean copper underneath, but if you look closely here at the top too, there's imperfections there where it's broken off, it's been glued back badly. So I'm going to have to try and fill it to the best of my ability, and to do that I managed to find this porcelain stick here, it says that it's a thermo hardening water-based colour. So in addition to that, now the trouble with that is white, and I think this is actually gone a little bit off white. So I've also bought this. It's called Porcifix. It's porcelain touch-up glaze, and I've got this in a colour that is actually called bone. So I think that might match a little bit better to that. It looks pretty white there, but it is actually an off-white. So I'm just going to do it by trial and error. It says that this is good for building up, right? So it's not just a case of pour it on and look at it, but I've got to build it up, and I've got to make it try to match as much as I can with the existing one. So it says it fills chipped areas. Now whether that's a chip or not, or a huge chunk, is difficult to determine. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to use this rubbing alcohol I've got, and I'm just going to clean these little bits of copper first and let them dry. So all I'm going to do is put it on a cotton bud and just clean it all off, and we'll take it from there. Okay, I've got my Porcifix now. What I'm going to do is to open it up and see what it says. Okay, I've got it open now. Let's have a look. Oh, it's got its own applicator. So let's see how it goes. Not bad actually, and that's not a bad colour match either. I'm just dropping it on slowly because you have to build this stuff up, you know. I'll just turn that around so you can see a little bit better, and we'll stick a bit more on there. That's not a bad match at all. Come on, drop off, boy. I'm going to leave it at that for now. That's the first coat, because I've got these little pieces that I can insert into them. These are the ones that came off, so I've saved them, and it's not going to be too bad a match actually. I may have to just colour it up a little bit as I get a little bit thicker, but that's quite a good start. I'm quite pleased with that. So I decided to play about with it a little bit, and I started putting these pieces in, and it's making a little bit of a mess of my table here, but I think if I get those in place, it's going to set. It's going to be less filling as well, isn't it? So I've got to watch out because there's a number 1 on there. See it? And I've got to measure those out carefully, so I'm just hoping that's going to be in the right place. If not, I'm going to have to be very creative with my lettering. I'm just looking for another piece now. I've got another big piece here, and I hope this piece is going to go in at the top over here. That's got a letter on it, look. See what I mean? So, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that on me. Turn over. I don't think that's going to fit there. No, maybe that would have been a better fit for there. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. So I'm going to put a little bit more on this part here, just to, oh, that's too much. No, it's not. It will settle. It will settle. Right, so I'll have to settle for it settling. And I'm going to leave these bits for the final filling in now. So I'm going to let that dry and we'll see what happens to that. Now we've got to clean the desk up. I've got some alcohol and hopefully with a bit of luck it'll take that off. Oh, beautiful, look at that. Oh, that's come up very nice, like a new one. Almost as good as a new one. Okay, that's gonna rest now for quite some time. Overnight for sure. And then we'll see what it's like in the morning. I've now started the filling on the clock face. So I'm having to build it up a little bit at a time. And I'll just have to try and match the colour when it's dried. So I've got three main areas. But already it looks better than it did because it had those huge bits of copper showing before. So we're well on the way. Well, I've had my trusty old iron again. My flat iron weighing down a piece of slate that's been broken off. I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to have to just sand it down a little bit, take off the surplus glue, and that should be as good as new. It happened when I was putting this thing in. Really tight it was, and it just chipped off a little bit there. But finally I've got that in now, and it was a struggle. Now all the gold leafing is done. You can see the pillar tops, the statues, the bezel has all been gold leafed, and the brass ferrules at the bottom have all been polished up. So the next job now is to get these panels cleaned up with brass ore. Get this done with brass ore, get this done with brass ore, get this top done with brass ore, and also this, whatever you call this thing on top. It all needs cleaning up with brass ore now. I've cleaned inside here where I put all these things back. So it's just a case now of getting the brass polished up, getting the insides working, getting the clock working, and then we're back in business. I'm quite pleased with it really.